Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you? How are we doing? It's me, Legal Vices, and welcome to Legal Vices. The reason we didn't do our normal mens rea and OJ Simpson kills two people with a knife thing and they stopped making the Ford Bronco intros is because I didn't click play fast enough before the microphone kicked on. So there we go. That's the that's the only reason. And for those of you that followed all of the drama yesterday, where my video was taken down for really no good reason that I can see, and I appealed. Well, surprise, 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 they denied the appeal. My takedown stands. Yeah, but I'm gonna, and frankly, I'm getting ready for vacation and I don't have time to deal with it. So I'll have to think of something, or otherwise I'll just have to suck it up and eat it. But well, whatever. That stream seems to be dead and gone for forever. We'll just see how it goes. Yeah, well, we got our OJ Simpson. We're back to OJ Simpson here. 101 of you watching. It's this is our little niche night. This is our little night where we have our lowest viewership, but we have our most diehard fans. And so that's why we like doing this. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on later, but first we've got to do our cocktail of the day. And I was thinking we would do this because it had orange juice in it. So OJ, orange juice. But then when I went back and looked at the recipe, it actually didn't have any orange juice in it. So I've got my orange juice and I just happen to have a little bottle of vodka here. So we may have to do a screwdriver later. But first, the cocktail of the day today is called the Irish Storm. You want to start with 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of, damn it, I forgot I have my little fuzzy blurry thing on here. Hang on, guys. I hate this background blur. It makes me look super sexy and handsome when I'm not showing things. When you are showing things, it blurs out all the cool stuff. So anyway, let me do that there for a minute. Okay, today's cocktail is the Irish Storm. For the Irish Storm, take 2 ounces of Irish whiskey. I like a good Bushmills. So take 2 ounces of Bushmills, put it in a glass, in a shaker glass with ice. 2 ounces of a good Irish whiskey, then add about 2/3 of an ounce of Cointreau. Let's see, we want about 2/3 of an ounce or 20 milliliters. And the same amount, about 2/3 of an ounce or 20 milliliters of Aperol. And 15 milliliters or half an ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Put that in your shaker. Stick your cap on. Give it a really good shake. Get it nice and cold. And when you're done doing that, you want to strain all of that out into another glass. Strain that into a glass and get rid of the ice. You won't be needing that anymore. Pour all of the liquid without the ice back into the mixer. And then to that, add the whites of 1 egg. Just some egg whites. Drop in your little spring ball and give it another good shake for about 30 seconds. You want a good 30-second shake to get it foamy. The longer you shake it, the foamier it'll get. Shake it hard. And once you think you've got it just about where you want it, then strain it into your highball glass or your Collins glass with a nice big chunk of ice in it. There you go. That egg white just leaves this nice, amazingly thick, delicious foam on top. Oh, and there you have your Irish Storm. Beautiful, beautiful citrus notes. Lovely, lovely summer cocktail. All right. That's it. Let's bring up our guest, or not our guest. She's our co-host. It's Chandler Remington.
Hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Hi, what's up?
Not much.
I have to reorganize my desktop here, make it more of a broadcast studio and less of a bar. Let's see.
You're getting professional.
Top of the Aperol. And let's see. Well, so you woke up extra early so that we could start an hour late. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did. I woke up at like 4 for some reason. I'm not really sure why.
Yikes.
And then I procrastinated getting ready. So
no one should ever wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning for any reason ever. That's the time you go to sleep.
It's yeah, I never used to be a morning person. I'm still not a morning person, but I wake up early for some reason. I have no idea. I don't like the morning. I mean, I don't like waking up early in the morning, but my circadian rhythm has decided otherwise.
Oh, well. I'll have words with your circadian rhythm.
I'm rocking the braid today, flux style.
I see that. You got to do the pigtail braid if you're going to rock it flux style.
I only do one braid because I don't want to steal her thing.
That's her thing, is it? Oh my gosh. Oh. Well, we're here an hour late. Sorry, everybody, for starting an hour late. Just didn't have time to get everything done that I needed to do today. Saw the writing on the wall a little bit earlier, which was good. So I didn't have to make everybody gather here and then go, I'm not there yet. It'll be an hour late. So we decided, father, hang on. Are we still there? Oh, good. I hit the back button with my thumb again, but this time it emptied my desktop. It didn't knock me out of the studio. So there we go. Great.
I like your Mormon cursing there. I've never heard that one before.
Oh no, that's from that's one. Yeah, that was after Psy. After he did Gangnam Style, his next song was called Gentleman, and that was the chorus. Mother, father, gentleman.
Oh, I don't know if I paid attention to anything that he did after that one song.
Yeah, that was his next song. So we're doing our OJ Simpson. It's been a couple of weeks because of YNW Melly and Shabusiness. So we haven't been doing this for a while. So now we've got to get back. And what I decided we would do is we ended up last time watching about 25 minutes of ANDREA MAZZOLA's testimony. And I frankly can't remember a damn thing she said. So I thought we'd just go back and rewatch that. We'd just start her testimony from the beginning.
That sounds good because I don't remember it either. So I'm happy to do that.
Don't remember a thing she said.
Nope, nothing.
So as we kick this off, just want to give people a little bit of guidance because they know what they're supposed to do anyway. 175 people here right now. It's there more and more people are trickling in as we get going. We've only got 102 likes, so about 80 of you haven't done your job. So do me that big favor, get down there, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you have subscribed already, please make sure you're still subscribed. And go over to Remy_legal and make sure you are subscribed to our wonderful guest host, Chandler Remington.
I would like
to give you a middle. You seem like you should have a middle initial.
A middle initial?
Chandler P. Remington, or something like that.
Well, my middle initial is R. But
Chandler Remington. That doesn't work.
It's a lot of R's, yeah. It's the R's kind of string together.
Like Chandler P. Remington or Chandler J. Remington.
You could roll the R. You could Chandler. No, I can't. I normally am good at it, but I couldn't do it this morning.
Chandler.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah. That's kind of sexy.
Our guest host, Chandler P. Remington. We're just going to give you a middle initial because you need one. Make sure you get over there, Remington, Remy_legal. That's her channel. Subscribe and take our poll. Today's poll is the long-asked question, the question that needs to be answered. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, then vote on our poll. Again, we've got 142 votes and only 118 likes. You're some cheaters out there. Some of you are just cheaters. Get down there. If you took the poll, hit the like button. All right, our choices are: who killed Ron and Nicole? OJ did it. OJ's son did it. Suspicious characters in ski masks did it, and Taylor Shabusiness did it. Those are our options. I told you my polls are lame, but it's just to draw your attention to the fact there is a like button and a subscribe button.
Yeah, so, all right. Taylor Shabusiness is not going to be doing anybody or anything for a really long time.
Why does she have a boy's name? Chandler isn't necessarily a boy's name. There's plenty of women out there, famous ones at that, named Chandler. So there you go.
Because my mom liked it.
Yeah.
I don't have a better answer than that.
There's a plethora of famous women named Chandler.
Is there? Are there?
Yes.
Whom are you speaking of?
Shh. There's lots of them. Just say yes.
Oh, okay. All right, sure.
There's lots of women, famous persons named Chandler out there, right? Just say yes.
Yes, sure. Why not?
See? So come on, stop asking ignorant questions and educate yourself.
Jeff is always right.
Do you think they bought it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay. Without any further ado, or ado is another word for waste of time. I know, Valhalla, I tried. just go with it.
He made the effort.
See, OJ got away with murder, and I can't even get away with mentioning there's lots of famous women named Chandler. So, all right.
Trust me, I keep track.
Well, we're gonna start. We did 6 months of Dennis Fung, and we were so funged out by the end of it that the 25 minutes we did of ANDREA MAZZOLA just doesn't even register in my memory banks at all. So,
nope. I can relate to you on that.
Yeah. So we'll just jump straight back into the beginning of ANDREA MAZZOLA's testimony. Let's see. She followed directly on the heels of her boss, Dennis Fung, and ANDREA MAZZOLA is definitely a real woman. They didn't make many fake ones back then, 28 years ago. Right, here we go. ANDREA MAZZOLA. Today she would look like she would look like an activist. I guess. Oh, hey, we've got unhung heroes starting off the super chats. Super chats are good. We've got the hyperventilating dogs behind us, just in case we reach doggo cam levels of achievements to unlock. Time to search IMDb for actress's name Chandler. Well, politicians, news people. We've got there's lots of them out there somewhere. I'm pretty sure of it. Right. Or maybe not. All right, here we go. This is ANDREA MAZZOLA, assistant criminologist for LA Police Department. And what you're going to see is this is the direct examination by the prosecution. You're going to see them desperately try to explain away a lot of the crap that Fung did. And yeah, I'll let you be the judge of whether it has any effect whatsoever. Let's see. Here we go. It helps if you want to hear it, huh? And we'll bring the volume down and give it a little audio check here in a minute to make sure all of our levels are nice and balanced. And by nice and balanced, I mean 50% of you are going to say I'm too loud, and 50% of you are going to say the court is too loud. So that means it's just about right.
All right, Mr. Goldberg.
Good morning, Ms. Mazzola.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Mazzola, directing your attention to the date of June the 13th of 1994, did you participate in some evidence collection with Dennis Fung at the location of 360 North Rockingham and 875 Bundy in Los Angeles?
Yes, I did.
Wouldn't it be funny if she said
And
no?
on the 14th, did you also participate in some collection at the Bronco in the print shed?
Yes, I did.
Now, before getting into those matters, I'd like to ask you a little bit about your training and your experience. First of all, what is your job title?
Criminalist 1.
And a criminalist is?
Criminalist 1, aka assistant criminologist. But I don't like to be called that.
We work in the crime lab, collection, preservation of evidence, and analyzing the evidence, testifying as an expert witness in court.
Okay, and is part of your job description as a criminalist that you actually have to analyze evidence?
Yes, it is.
As part of analyzing evidence, do you generate analyzed evidence reports?
Yes, we do.
And then as part of your job description, are you also required to testify in court as an expert witness?
Yes, we are.
Was that true when you were first hired with the Los Angeles Police Department as a criminalist one?
Yes, it was.
Now, before you became a criminalist one at the Los Angeles Police Department, did you have some formal training in school?
Yes, I did.
And what degree do you hold?
I hold a Bachelor of Science in Forensic Science.
And where is that from?
California State University, Sacramento.
Before you were allowed to take courses that were specific to forensic science, did you have to take general background science courses?
Yes.
And what kinds of courses did you take that were general background science courses before you got into the specifics of forensic science?
We had to take general chemistry, organic chemistry, qualitative analysis, biochemistry, quantitative analysis,
sorry.
chemistry. Biochemistry, we had to take some biology courses such as anatomy, genetics, basic biology.
Did you take microbiology,
Yes, I did.
organic chemistry?
Right.
All right. And after you were
Husband?
finished with
What
taking
makes you
these
think she has a
various,
husband?
general science courses, did you then take
But
some
she-
courses that
she
were
kinda does
specific
look
to
like
the
a-
area of criminalistics?
King of
Yes.
the Hill.
Approximately how many courses did you take in school?
She
that
does
were-
have a Peggy Hill thing going for her, yeah.
It was approximately 5.
Was one of those courses a trace analysis course?
Yes, it was.
And what did that involve?
It involved the analyzing of trace evidence such as hair, fiber, minute glass particles, extremely small pieces
Harold
of evidence.
Did you
some
do any
reason I miss
serology
Harold
in that
Ramis.
course?
Oh no.
We did a basic ABO blood typing experiment.
No, no.
Okay, and what is serology? If you could just give
But
us
me
a
too.
general definition.
Serology deals
Hashtag
with
me too.
the analyzation of bodily fluids.
Okay. Now, did this professor that taught you in the trace analysis course use any particular technique to impress on you the importance of maintaining control of your evidence?
Yes, if he thought that we were not maintaining control over our evidence, if he thought we were leaving it out on the bench top, he would confiscate the evidence. And since the evidence was your unknown, you had to buy it back with points. And each report was only worth 50 points to begin with. So if you lost 20 points buying your evidence, you more or less couldn't pass that one section.
So is that why you never passed
Did you
any
lose
murder
any points
examination?
during
Because you
this,
kept
course
leaving your
as a
evidence all
result
over
of not
tables?
maintaining control of your evidence?
No.
All right. And did this technique that the professor used seem to work in impressing on you?
It worked extremely well.
Apparently not.
Now, as a student, when you were there at the California State University, did you participate with other students in starting any organizations in the area of criminalistics?
Yes, since forensic science, was such a small major, we wanted to try to bring more people into the area, at least let them become familiar with it. So we started an organization which became recognized by the university to promote forensic science, to give people an idea of what it was.
Did you also begin attending meetings as a student of the California Association of Criminalists?
Yes.
And what is that association?
It's an organization of criminalists, people in the field. They attend meetings, seminars, classes
I hope not.
to gain more information in the field,
I certainly
to
hope
share
not.
ideas, new techniques.
Okay. And when you graduated from the California State University, did you begin working at a law enforcement agency
Yes, I
as
did.
criminals? What agency was that?
It was the Kern County District Attorney's Office Crime Lab in Bakersfield.
And what was your job title there when you began with the Kern County District
Now I
Attorney's
remember
Office
why
in
the
their
first
crime lab?
25 minutes made
was a
zero
criminalist.
impression on me at all.
What were you doing in the crime lab?
I was assigned to the toxicology unit.
And toxicology is what?
What did you say? I was falling asleep. Sorry.
Analysis of blood and urine for drugs of abuse.
Are we boring you?
So you are dealing with biological specimens in toxicology?
I said now I
Right.
recall why I
Now,
probably
how
don't
long
remember
were you
anything
at
she
the,
said for the
Kern
first 25
County
minutes.
District Attorney's Office.
Yeah, I know. I
Crime Lab?
heard you.
It's approximately
Ah,
18 months.
You're not boring. They're boring.
And when you were there working in toxicology, was there anything that you learned in terms of handling biological specimens and avoiding cross-contamination that would be relevant towards processing a crime scene?
Well, anytime you're working with biologicals or any evidence, you have to be careful of cross-contamination. You only work on one item or one sample at a time. You never have two items open at the same time. You are very careful about the utensils you use, whether it's pipettes, which are usually disposable, or tweezers
careful?
or scissors, anything.
It's news to me.
Okay. And
Well,
when you were
careful-
there at the
the definition
Kern
of
County
careful has
District Attorney's
changed,
Office
apparently.
Crime Lab, did you have the opportunity to see what other criminalists were doing?
Be careful
in
about some things, but reckless
areas
about
that were
others.
not
It doesn't really count
involved
for much, does it?
with toxicology?
Yes.
So did you sort of get an overview of different areas of criminalistics while you were there?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever have the opportunity of seeing people at the Kern County Crime Lab, the criminalists, processing bloody clothing or clothing from rape cases that might contain biological evidence?
Yes, I did.
While you were there, did you join any other organizations that are involved in the area of criminalistics?
Well, I joined the American
I'm feeling
Academy of Forensic
criminalistic.
Sciences.
The acrolistic
And
sang
what
that
is
song.
the
I think.
American Academy of Forensic Sciences
I'm not familiar
as
with that one.
opposed to the California Association of Criminalists?
Feeling
They're similar
acrolistic.
in that they're
Not
both
familiar with that song? That's a
organizations
great song.
dealing with
don't think
the
so,
area
unless-
of
Maybe if I heard it, maybe I'd
criminalistics,
recognize
forensic
it.
science, the
Kind of
law.
sounds just like that.
The American Academy takes a wider view. We have people who are in the law. We have dentists. There are different sections dealing with the different professions.
Okay. Did you also join the California Association of Criminalists?
Yes, I joined as a member.
Was that in the same time frame?
Yes, it was.
And you were there for, you said, 18 months?
Yes.
Now, after you left the Kern County District Attorney's Office Crime Lab, where did you go?
I started looking for another job.
And did you find employment as a criminalist?
Weirdly, she started looking for
I
another
found
job right after this too.
as a toxicologist.
Probably
in a
not
private
though.
I mean,
What
Fung
was
kept his
that
job,
lab?
didn't he?
Valley Toxicology.
That's shocking.
So as a toxicologist, were you doing the
I still
same
can't
thing
get
that
over
you were
that.
doing when you were working in the Kern County toxicology section?
Yes.
And you were doing the actual, what, is it a chemical analysis or a physical analysis of the biological specimens?
It's more of a chemical analysis.
Okay. Are you testing for anything other than drugs?
No, just drugs.
Okay. When were you at this toxicology, Valley Toxicology? What were the dates that you were there?
I can't remember. I was on drugs.
Let me check my.
I was just joking. I hope she could remember. Jonathan says, lol, a vegan TikToker starved themselves to death accidentally.
Approximately
Well,
May
technically
of
she died of
93
malnutrition, not
to about the
starvation.
middle of December of
same thing.
93.
And if she had just eaten a burger,
And after you left
she might have
Valley
lived a day
Toxicology, where
more.
did you go?
I
Very
was offered a
sad.
position with LAPD.
When
Kind
did
of.
you start with LAPD?
January 24th, 1994.
I mean, that's a Darwin Award at work.
And when you were you hired alone, or were there other people that were hired in the same group?
There were 3 other people who were hired approximately the same time as I was.
Now, in approximately April of 1994, did you go through a mini academy?
Yes.
And what did that involve?
It involved showing us the way that the LAPD crime lab collects their evidence, the different sections, what they had to offer us, what they had available to help us at a crime scene, or analyzing the evidence once we got back to the lab.
Did they teach you how to physically pick up evidence and collect evidence at a crime scene?
Yes.
Did they teach you how to collect bodily fluids?
Yes, I did.
And how was that done? Was that a theoretical instruction or a practical, or a combination?
It was a combination. They first told us why they do it this way, why they need to pick up, be it blood or whatever. Then we had practical hands-on where we would actually pick up the blood from different substrates, concrete, carpet, stone.
So were these mock crime scenes, or what were they when you were picking up this blood in the mini academy?
It really wasn't like a mock crime scene. They just had the blood on the different substrates that we would tend to run into out in the real world. So we would have hands-on experience on how to manipulate the stain, how to collect it.
And by manipulate, I don't think she means plant. We learned how to plant stains and manipulate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good
Phrasing.
wording. The phrasing is really bad.
Yeah, it really is. It really
Especially
is
when
bad.
you
And-
just watched your colleague get totally reamed by Barry Scheck for like 8 days
Ooh,
over
phrasing.
the fact. Yeah, I meant that intentionally.
Yeah, I would say, well, it actually kind of was accurate.
It was almost literally. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
I mean, he hugged them at the end. That was,
Yeah.
that's like some Stockholm syndrome kind of stuff. But no, that's ridiculous for her to not choose her words more carefully, considering the implication and the accusation that has come from the defense. It's ridiculous.
Jonathan says he had a mega lesbian neighbor who looked like this lady. I don't
Flux,
know
are there
what a-
mega lesbians? Clue us in.
Yeah,
My 1 year in the Los Angeles lesbian scene did not make me aware of the mega lesbians. I don't think that I was lesbian enough.
I was gonna say, not sure what a mega lesbian is, but I can see them probably looking like this.
Is that a secret club? I guess I was not gay enough for that. I'm sad. I want to know more about these mega lesbians.
And just so chat know that well, they know now because I called them out for not using our new Taylorship business head in a bucket emoji.
Oh God, we
So
have one of those?
all of you members who are part of the Legal Vice's various tiers of membership, you get to use the Taylorship business head in a bucket emoji.
Nice.
And also, because I'm cool this way, I've decided that all super chats shall be rung in with a ship's bell.
I like that. That's really cool. It's
And the
about
large
time.
ones, the large ones will be rung in with a foghorn.
I'm gonna have to get used to that. Nice stuff.
There we go. Those are our new super chat alerts.
Well, you are a maritime lawyer, so it does make sense. You're like one of the few people. I get really alarmed when I go on other people's channels and they have these sounds for their super chats. I'm like, what is that? I'm not used to that, so I like it.
Well, I'm inspired by Joe's Jew horns, so
Is that a thing?
I'm just. It is. He's got his Jew horns that he uses for the super chats.
I like Flux's chat very much.
Where'd Flux go? Flux, yeah. I'm a regular lesbian, but LA is full of mega lesbians. Not to be confused with MAGA lesbians. All right.
MAGA lesbians are a whole other breed.
They are, I guess.
I wonder if this lady, if Mazzola, if she is a MAGA lesbian, a mega lesbian, or what kind of lesbian she is. She could be married to a man. You never know.
Unhung Hero testing me here with the $100 super chat. Oh my God, Unhung Hero. Thank you so much. Rachel Maddow's crazy cat lady lesbian older sister.
Nice. Thank you, Unhung Hero. That was a really fantastic
yeah.
super chat.
So that's how the foghorn works. And there we go. That puts us straight over the top of Doggo Cam too,
Well,
in one fell swoop. Thank
We
you
had
so
to
much.
test it out
Unhung.
like with a real super chat, I think.
Yeah, that definitely qualifies as a real super chat. So thank you
hear.
so much. And let's see, I owe you a shot of something for that as well. So let me organize my shot taking capabilities. What do I have?
I also
I'm
think
not going to take.
some dogs are in order, and everybody else who's in the chat currently, while Jeff is preparing that, I would love to hear the ship's bell. We still haven't heard that, but we can only hear it with the smaller super chat. And I would be very curious.
Bushmills is great. I really like
to hear what that
the
sounds like.
original Bushmills is great. The Bushmills Black Bush is even better. But my favorite even more than the higher age statements, is a good Bushmills 10-year. That tastes so good, just very, very apple forward and really delish. But thank you so much, Unhung Hero, for the mega chat, not the mega lesbian super chat, just the mega chat, even though it was about lesbians. Rachel Madhouse, crazy cat lady, lesbian older sister, foghorn. Thank you.
That's actually not a bad description. She does kind of look exactly like that.
She does.
Oh, it's Swan Lake Lady. Hey there.
Yes. So thank you very much for that.
Hello, everybody. Okay. That is a
Jeff likes Bush. Yes, I do, especially when there's a whole mill full of it. All right. Yeah.
Mill full of Bush.
Black Bush is some great whiskey. Yeah. Hope you're talking about whiskey, MG Law. I really hope you're talking about whiskey. Really. Right. Here we go. Let's get back into it.
Can I just say that that Mazzola, she makes me feel very feminine by contrast. Like I didn't have time to do like a ton of makeup today. And yeah, I feel very, very feminine. So thank you.
Well, you should
Ms.
always
Mazzola.
feel very, very feminine.
I mean, I do generally. Anyway.
You're Chandler P. Remington. So
who said P was the middle initial? What does that stand for?
I don't know. Just P. Like, what does Homer J. Simpson stand for? You know.
I think
All right.
Harry S. Truman's middle name was just an S.
Probably
Pretty sure.
All right. Let's
Should
get
we
back to
this?
Yeah. Let's get back to it here.
We're very professional here. Very professional.
Yeah. She's starting to look like Stephen Hawking here.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the eyes drooping and closed like that.
Preserve it, to learn, to be careful about contamination.
Did they also teach you other techniques such as tool marks, dust prints, shoe prints, and the like? Right. Now, how difficult was it for you to learn how to pick up blood, biological evidence?
It's not hard at all.
That's what she said.
Okay. And as a criminalist, when you start as a criminalist 1, are you expected to go out to crime scenes and pick up evidence?
We are expected to accompany the more experienced criminalists when we can.
Yeah.
We watch
and that more experienced criminologist would be Dennis Fung,
scenes.
Unfortunately.
We are allowed to pick up evidence under their supervision. It gives us more training under supervision.
How long
it's
are
like
you
having
a
Binger
criminalist
as your
1
boss.
before you become a
Jesus.
criminalist 2?
We're criminalist 1 for a year and a half.
Okay. Now, is there some aspect in which
Oh, and I just noticed she does that thing that drives me a little bit crazy. It's just a trigger point for me.
What's the thing?
See, and you didn't do it, so you don't trigger me. It's people when they have a word ending G, they pronounce it, anything. We're doing.
Oh, that is irritating.
We're going. She kind of has a little bit of that.
even though you're a criminalist 1 and you've been taught how to do these how to physically collect the evidence, is there some aspect in which you're still being trained in crime scene investigation during that 18 months?
In that period, it's more like we were being trained in the discretionary area to go to a crime scene, to look at it, to decide what is evidence, what we can pick up that would be of value, what can be analyzed back at the lab. That's the part that we were being trained in as criminalist 1s.
Well, are you still being trained in the physical part of how you actually physically pick up a shoe print or how you physically pick up a piece of biological evidence?
To a certain extent, for the most part, we are trained in the technical area. It's the discretionary area, making the decisions that we are in the process of learning.
What all does this discretionary area involve in terms of being a criminalist? Is it just what to pick up and what not to pick up?
Well, also it involves dealing with the people you'll find at the scene, the detectives, the coroner's people, determining what is viable evidence versus what is really not part of the scene.
when you're at a scene, do you simply just pick up anything and everything that happens to be in the area or within a certain diameter of the bodies in the case of murder? How do you go about making that kind of a decision?
That again is the discretionary area. You have to look at the whole scene, try to get an idea of what could have happened, and start looking for items that could be connected. It's better to pick up a little more than not enough.
Is there any problem with just indiscriminately collecting everything that you see?
Yes, because you'll spend all your time picking up every single little bit of paper or whatever, and you're not adding towards figuring out what happened. You're adding a lot of garbage is what it is.
And is it this area in which during the 18 months you are still being trained in terms of how to evaluate a crime scene, how to make this kind of decision?
Yes, that's the area.
Now, prior to the work that you did on June the 13th, had you actually gone out on crime scenes and seen other people collect evidence and collect some evidence yourself?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you
Jeff, are you talking? You're muted.
No, I know I'm muted. I did that just to see if anybody was paying attention. I meant to do that. I muted myself intentionally.
Oh.
I did mute myself intentionally, but the other stuff was just bullshit. Yeah. All right. And see, that's the next thing. John Byrne, if you're here and you're watching this, we need a muted. we need a muted emoji. I think the reason they're asking her these questions, like I mentioned earlier, is to sort of try to make Fung sound like he's not a completely incompetent moron. Because they were like, "Well, did you collect this? You don't know. You only collected the things you thought were important. You made the decision whether something was important or not." So now she's like, "So did you just pick up everything that's laying around?" And they're trying to rehabilitate Fung through her.
That's so weird. I've never heard of trying to rehabilitate your previous witness through your next witness. It shows how badly they messed up, I guess.
Yeah, it just shows what a horrible witness Fung was.
I mean, it also, yeah, it does, but it shows that they weren't able to rehabilitate Fung at all through their questioning. We saw it, and for anybody who didn't see it, it was a joke. I mean, Goldberg was terrible in his efforts. I can't even explain how badly they messed up.
Well, which is again weird that they would let him take the lead with the next witness too after his Fung performance.
Yeah, really. Bad move. I mean, there's a reason they lost this case.
Oh, let's see. Oh, we have a Mike. Oh, I thought it was a Mike Morrison sighting. It's a Mike Middleton exciting. Out of sheer curiosity, Legal Vices, we'd be playing the absolutely phenomenal Norm Macdonald OJ jokes clip at some point. No, because I've already got one copyright strike as of yesterday, and Saturday Night Live are the absolute most protective people. They're the copyright strikiest people of all copyright strike people. But if anybody does want to watch some funny stuff, go watch Norm Macdonald's OJ jokes on Saturday Night Live. They didn't want him to tell them. They told him to stop telling them. He kept telling he told so many OJ jokes that they fired him from Saturday Night Live for it. So that's why OJ Simpson. That's why Norm Macdonald was fired from Saturday Night Live. He wouldn't stop telling OJ jokes despite being directly ordered to. So,
it's really disappointing because, I mean, she reminds me so much of Pat, and I just wish we could do It's Pat, but we obviously can't for, reasons that are just, they're like, okay, SNL are just cucks about all of that copyright stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, after, considering yesterday, you want to tread very lightly, just like Jessica just got her account restated on Twitter, and she's like treading very lightly with the things that she's saying. So, you've got to be careful. Unfortunately,
he's got to.
You can't speak freely. This is not, there's no free speech. It's a private platform, so they can do whatever they want. Boo.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Well, let's get back to Alice Cooper's younger sister over here.
You listed the number of crime scenes. Do you distinguish between a crime scene and a car search?
I did. Some people don't, but at that point I did.
Okay, so some people put the two of them together.
Right.
All right. And with respect to your first crime scene, Did you actually pick up any evidence at that crime scene?
Yes, under supervision.
And was there any biological evidence that was involved in that first crime scene?
There was a lot of biological evidence.
Can you give us just a guesstimate as to how many stains? I mean, are we talking about less than a dozen or more than a dozen?
More than a dozen.
Did you pick up some of those stains yourself?
Yes, I did.
Ew.
Now, when you processed that first crime scene, did you get any feedback in terms of how you done?
The people that were processing the scene were given a commendation for the scene.
So this was your first crime scene and you received a commendation for it?
Right.
And was that presented to you in an award ceremony?
They mentioned it at our annual luncheon.
Luncheon. Do we
Food
still have luncheons in the
accommodations.
States? Luncheons.
Okay.
I haven't heard of a luncheon. I haven't been invited to a luncheon.
Now, did you also process another crime scene
Maybe.
after this and before June the 13th?
Might be the mega lesbians that
had
are hosting them.
biological evidence in it.
Yes.
They explain why I don't know about them.
And did that have multiple stains as well?
Yes,
I
it
need
did.
more tea. I will
Did
be
you
back.
pick up those stains?
Yes, I did.
Were there any other crime scenes that you participated in before June the 13th that had biological evidence that you physically?
Man, you know her
Participated in
bedroom is
collecting.
full of biological evidence and is almost a crime scene the way she gets freaky. You know. You
There
know
was
Mazzola
one
gets freaky.
that had biological evidence, but the collection procedure was not the procedures used on the other scenes.
Okay, now was that a car search or?
Right, this was a car search.
Okay, and you said that you do make a distinction between those,
I do.
but there was one car search that you were involved in that also had biological evidence.
Correct.
Now, after June the 13th, did you, and before today's date, did you participate in any more crime scenes that had biological evidence that needed to be collected?
I'm going to start
Yes.
calling my bedroom
And can you
a
give us an
crime scene
approximate
with
number?
biological
Of
evidence.
scenes?
Yeah. And include car searches.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure that'll bring all the chicks in.
The biologicals, there were 2 actual scenes.
Okay.
Scenes.
Probably
No.
uses Mazzola.
At the crime lab, the Los Angeles Police Department crime lab, do they have a position
Mazzola
that's
corn
known
oil.
as criminalist trainee?
No.
Is that any kind of an official word that's used?
Okay, see, this is Fung took exception to her being called a trainee. Even though she's a rookie, she'd only been there a few months. She was literally being trained to do her job. And so Sheck called her trainee, and they're, "You're not a trainee, she's a criminalist one." So now they're like, yeah, is there any such thing as a trainee? Absolutely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's just a word game. They just want to try to use this to somehow discredit the defense because they kept calling her trainee, and there's no position trainee, even though she's literally someone undergoing training. Paul says, "No, I'm going to recommend that you don't do that yet."
No.
Yeah, someone in chat said it looks like the Ghostbuster. Yeah, we talked about missing him. Rip Ramey.
No.
Trainee. Right. But as you said,
Ramey the
there is-
trainee.
to some extent, you are being trained in crime scene processing and investigation as
Correct.
a criminalist one. At the crime scenes, the crime scenes that you participated in June the 13th and also on the 14th in the Bronco, if we divide the work of a criminalist up the way that you've suggested into the mental and discretionary type components and the physical collection components.
Objection, I don't think you should use the word mental.
What was the objection?
Who was responsible for the mental or the discretionary type components?
That is the criminalist 3 area.
Okay. Now, going back 2 seconds to this mini academy, when
Yes,
you were
Egon.
going through the mini academy, do they actually teach you specifically what the people in serology are going to do with the evidence after you've collected it in the case of biological evidence?
Not specifically, no.
Okay. And do they train you actually how to do DNA tests?
No.
So are they training you the physical collection procedures?
That's correct.
Now, I'd like to direct your attention back to the date of June the 13th of 1994. At some point in the early morning, did you receive a telephone call that awakened you?
I was already awake,
Okay.
but I did get the call.
And what time was that?
It was approximately 5:25 in the morning.
Overachiever who wakes up at 5:30 in the morning.
And did that call notify you that you were to respond to a crime scene?
Yes.
Now, are all criminalists at the laboratory expected to respond to crime scenes?
We are all put on a rotation,
And how often are you on this rotation, approximately?
approximately 3 months. Every 3 months we come up.
And for what length of a period of time are you on call? Every 3 months.
Sometimes we are on call for a week. We take the evening calls at night. Sometimes we are assigned to the weekend, and that's 24 hours a day.
So on this particular occasion on June 13th, did this simply happen to be the occasion that you were on call?
Yes, it was.
What did you have to do after you got this call notifying you that you needed to respond to a crime scene?
I called my criminalist 3, Mr. Fung, and informed him that we had a scene and we were to meet at the laboratory.
And was he also on call?
Yes.
For what purpose did you need to meet at the laboratory?
We needed to meet there to pick up the crime scene truck.
And did you do so?
Yes.
And did you then drive in the truck to the location, to the Rockingham location?
Yes.
Now, while you were going to the Rockingham location in the truck, was there any conversation with respect to filling out the crime scene identification checklist?
Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff. The crime scene checklists and all of this, because Fung didn't really do any of it. He didn't fill out that. He didn't follow the checklist. He didn't record when evidence was found, who found it, what order it was found in. He would just kind of make some general notes. Even the numbering, he wouldn't number the evidence in the order it was collected.
Right.
He would order it in the number that the pictures were taken. So if they took pictures of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, he would say evidence item number 1 corresponds to photograph number 1. And again, no times, no indications to who collected it, because he said unless he was certain it was important evidence. And then later, if it turned out the evidence was important, they would go back and try to remember as best they could the details to put in these reports.
Right. So nothing contemporaneous.
Yeah, not much. And so now they're going to start asking her about this. So I'm curious where this is going. And to all of you people that are bragging about how much you get done by 5:30, well, you're just inhuman, degenerate scum. So, there you go. 5 is like 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's the time you consider going to sleep, so you can wake up about 8. That's me though. Neo Dark Matter, thank you so much for the $1 super chat. And we did Fondins. She was getting funged by that funger Fung. Yeah. And Martin Furberger, member for 1 month, says Uncivil Law worked as a patent examiner since graduation till doing YouTube full time. He has not practiced as an attorney. So what? His 1, nay 2 bar passages are just as good, if not better, than any other lawyers out there. So what? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Hey, I haven't passed the bar. I mean, I haven't even gone to law school, but I'm still here. So.
And that doesn't matter a whit. His license to practice law is just as valid as any other lawyer.
Strange thing to super chat. Jeff, were you gonna wait? I had a question. Were you gonna ring the bell for the previous super chats, or for a certain amount? I wasn't sure how that worked.
Nope. Just a little bell for all of them.
Got
The
it.
bigger bell for 50 and above.
Cool.
Right.
Thank you.
So let's find out what happened. We did the bells for the super chat, Swan Lake lady.
The officer in charge.
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to take a look at People's 161 for identification.
One, please.
Ms. Mazzola, is the resolution on your screen good enough?
No.
Not really.
No, that
Maybe
was
we can just
the
focus
that
in
was
on
the blood
area
spatter
that says
expert, Henry Lee.
OIC name. Okay. Now you need to pull the paper a little bit over to the right. All right. Now can you recognize this?
Right.
Right. And did you, is this your handwriting?
Yes, it is.
And your name is where it says officer in charge?
Correct.
What was the conversation that you had with respect to filling out that portion of this form?
Objection is to the certain officer.
The basis.
Sorry. Objection is to the hearsay remarks of anyone else in the
Sustained.
trial.
Objection as
To
to
what?
can't see it.
I
Sustained. Hearsay is what the discussion was.
okay.
What happened?
We lost the feed.
We lost the window. That's interesting.
What's
Well,
going on?
that's odd. That window just decided it wanted to close. All right. That's weird. All right, see, I touch things, crap happens. I don't touch things and crap happens, but that's very, very easy to get back. So we just have to go to courttv.com. At least my stream is still here. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
at
I'm
this
suspicious. I'm a little scared. I was like, are we going to be? Is YouTube going to have another? No, I'm not going to speak it into existence. It doesn't happen.
point.
It's not going to
All
occur.
right, so we go to Trials of the Century, California versus OJ Simpson, 1995, week 13. And then we go to Mazzola, ANDREA Mazzola, and that was just weird. All right. Let me bring this back on up. Well, see, I think Jeff has a ghost in his computer. Could be. Anything's possible at this point.
Who would help
And then we fast forward about 25 minutes ish, I think. Yeah, see?
you? The mega. I don't think it was the mega lesbians. Willie bought.
Could be.
I mean, you never
Could
know.
be. You never know. All right. Well, we are back and ready to go.
All right.
Let me
Cool.
Just resize it so it's manageable on the oldie desktop. Well, having it crash and restart does not help the quality of the video in the least. But this is 1995 Potato Cam. All right, here we go. Back at it. Let's see what she has to say about filling out these papers in a way that her trainer did not do it. It helps if I.
You had with respect to filling out that portion of this form.
Objection is to the certain officer.
The basis.
Sorry. Objection is to the hearsay remarks of anyone else in the
Sustained.
trial.
As to what? I
Sustained. Hearsay is what the discussion was.
well, it's not coming in for the truth of the matter, Your Honor.
Excuse me, sustained, still sustained.
Okay.
It doesn't
But
matter.
at any rate,
Shut up.
you
Move
put
on.
your name was put in that location.
Correct.
And without telling us what the conversation was, there was some conversation about it.
Right.
Okay. Now, after you actually got to the location, did you continue to be or were you the officer in charge after you got to the Rockingham location?
Once we found out what was all involved, I was not the officer in charge.
All right. And who became the officer in charge?
Mr. Fung.
Now, what are the functions of the officer
The
in charge
functions?
as opposed to
Ah,
the person
ah.
assisting him or her?
The officer in charge, number one, talked to the detectives.
Lisa,
to try
allegedly
to
he
get an
wanted to
idea of
see his
what is
mother
going
before he
on.
was arrested, so he ran to Mama's
They
house with a gun in the
Make the
car.
discretionary calls as to what to pick up as evidence.
Right, but he wasn't driving. It was AC
They
Fields.
Interact with the
Cowling.
people at the scene, whether it's the detectives, police officers,
Cowling.
coroner's officials.
Who directs the other SID people, like print people and photography people?
That's the officer in charge.
Now, did you perform those functions at the Rockingham or Bundy locations?
No.
I'd next like to take a look at People's 189. For identification. Now, with respect to People's 189 for identification, when was this document filled out?
Part of it,
Foundation, we don't even know who filled it out first.
Sustain, rephrase the question.
What? Okay, is this your handwriting?
yes, it is.
Okay, and when was this filled out?
Part of it was filled out the morning of the 13th.
Was that shortly after you arrived at Rockingham?
Yes,
Sustain.
When was that?
shortly after we arrived at the Rockingham location.
Okay. And you placed, and did you have any conversation with respect to how this form was going to be filled out that you can remember?
No, not really.
Okay, was this a matter of consequence in your mind?
No.
All right, for the record, People's 189 is the vehicle search checklist.
Now, thank you, that's fine.
Please.
By the way, did you do any searching of the interior of the Bronco at any time on the 13th, or was that done at some later time?
That was done at a later time.
Now, shortly after you arrived at the Rockingham location, did you have any conversations with any detectives who gave you a walkthrough of the location?
I personally did not talk to any of the detectives.
Were you present when that happened?
Yes.
And without telling us what was said, what happened?
They showed us some things that they were interested in. They want us to take a look at.
Was that just a general walkthrough?
At first, it was the Bronco, and after there were some other items they wanted us to take a look at.
Do you recall who the detective was that did that, the detectives?
I personally don't.
Okay. Now, did you physically collect some of the stains that were located at the Rockingham location that morning, the morning of the 13th?
Yes.
And did Mr. Fung participate physically in the collection of some of those stains?
Yes, he did.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to take a look at the demonstration board. It's People's 162
Yes.
for identification. I don't know whether you can see this.
Let's look at 'em.
Ms. Mazzola.
I have an idea what's on it.
Ooh, we get to look at stains. It's so exciting.
Using this demonstration board, can you describe for us, starting with the first cell on People's 162,
God bless the people who choose this
the
as a career.
steps that are involved in collecting a stain? Yeah, maybe we can see that. Can we see that cell?
Sorry, Ms. Mazzola, can you see it on your monitor here?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, that shows two spots, blood spots that are numbered.
All right, and
Weird.
is the
People are
first
saying they
phase
can't
of
hear
this
the
collection
small
staying on
bell.
the board,
Did you hear the
numbering
foghorn?
measuring?
Yes,
I heard the foghorn, but I did not hear the
does-
small bell, which is why I
Is there a
asked.
documentation aspect to
Weird.
that phase as well?
the location, measurements, the photo ID numbers, and a brief description are noted on the evidence collection sheet.
Right, and are the items also photographed before
Yes,
they're
they are.
collected? So all of that occurs prior to the physical collection?
Yes.
Okay, now directing your attention to cell number 2 that says dampen swatch. What's involved in this stage of the collection procedure?
A small cloth swatch of the approximate size you need is selected with a pair of clean tweezers. A drop of distilled water is put on the swatch. It's then shaken, so any excess water is shaken off.
And direct your attention now to cell number 3 that says collect substrate control. What is done in this phase of the collection procedure?
The cloth swatch is placed on the substrate, say concrete or whatever, as close to the stain as possible, but without getting it in the stain, is to get a background control of what the sample is on.
What does the term substrate mean?
That is just the substance that the item of interest is on.
So if the item of interest, for example, instead of being on a walkway, were on a wall, what would be the
The
substrate?
wall would be the substrate,
Or if it were on clothing, what would be the substrate?
the clothing.
What is the purpose of taking this control that's near the stain but not on the stain?
Well, this can be used for two factors. One is to provide a background, what the sample was on. So when they go to run the tests on the sample, they can see if the background itself would interfere with the tests. The control can also be checked for DNA or other items of interest to see if any contamination took place.
Now, this control is basically just a blank swatch that has water on it that's put on the concrete in this example.
Correct.
So do you handle this piece of evidence or this piece of swatch exactly the same way that you would handle a swatch that was actually put on the stain?
It's handled the same way.
Why is it that you use the identical handling procedures for the substrate control that you would use for a swatch that was actually put on the stain?
Because you want them to be as identical as possible. The only difference being one will contain the item of interest, the other won't.
Okay. Now, directing your attention to cell number 4 on people's 162 for identification. What phase of the collection procedure is shown here?
It looks like the cloth swatch is being placed into a small plastic envelope, small plastic bag. The control is placed in one bag.
Okay. And now direct your attention to cell number 5 that says clean tweeze. Excuse me?
That was Mr. Fairclough speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please stop calling
Now
it a
direct your
bag,
attention to
too.
Cell number 5 that says clean tweezers on our demonstration.
Yes, after the control is taken, the tweezers are cleaned
Kind of a
with distilled
Wisconsin
water
thing.
and a Kim wipe, which is like a laboratory Kleenex.
I wonder. From Wisconsin.
Okay. And now directing your attention to cell number 6, which states in our board, take new swatch, then dampen it. What does this phase of the collection procedure involve?
Okay, our swatches are stored in plastic tubes, so you have to take a small selection of them out of the tube without handling them. Then you can select the correct size.
Don't
that you
handle the
need.
tube.
So that is what's being shown.
How do you decide which size to,
I don't think Mazzola's ever handled a tube in her life.
It depends on the size of the stain. You want to
Or a
select a
cylinder.
size swatch that is small enough
For anybody who
that,
gets
so
that
when you
reference.
apply it to the stain, you would get it as concentrated as possible.
now in this particular photograph, it's kind of hard for me to see that there are actually swatches in that little bottle, but is that what you're saying? The
Right.
swatches come from that bottle?
That's right.
Okay. Now let's take a look at cell number 7. It says collect stain and number card removed is in parentheses. What are you doing here?
That would be the actual collection of the stain.
And did you have to dampen the
Right,
swatch
it's
before
the
you?
same as with the control. You dampen the swatch, shake off the excess water, then you apply the swatch to the stain.
And finally, taking a look at
Okay.
cell number 8 that says package stain in same envelope with substrate control. What's involved in this procedure?
The swatch with the stain is placed in a separate plastic envelope. Both the control and the swatch with the item you're interested in are placed in the same coin envelope with the item number written on the outside.
Right. Now, when you're, thank you. Now, when you're collecting one of these stains, do you collect one stain at a time?
Yes.
Do you question the choices you've made in your
And-
life and how you got to this point?
I want to ask you some questions about different things that could happen when you're collecting a stain. Do you ever drop the tweezers while you're doing that?
That can happen.
You ever
What
Don't drop the
happens if you
tweezers.
do that?
You clean them all over again.
Yeah,
When
don't
you're
drop the
taking
tweezers.
a
It's not a good
swatch
idea.
that actually has blood on it, do you ever drop that bloody swatch?
That's never happened to me.
When you're pouring the, maybe pouring's not the right word, but when you're taking some of those little swatches out of the container, the little pill bottle, do those swatches ever fall?
They do occasionally, yes.
What do you do with those swatches?
I don't use them.
Could you use them as substrate controls?
You could,
But you do not do that?
but I personally don't do that.
So you just throw them away?
Right.
When you're picking up a swatch, do any
Oh,
of the
no,
swatches
no,
ever stick
no.
together?
That happens sometimes.
Okay, what do you do in that kind of instance?
Sticky
If
swatches
you're
are the worst.
picking either the control or the actual item, you can
Right,
use
sticky.
both swatches.
Okay, but what if you have two swatches stuck together? Do you try to separate them, or is it possible that you could apply both of them to the stain at the same time without knowing it?
You can tell if two of them are stuck together. You separate them and you use one swatch at a time, either to pick up the control or to pick up the stain itself.
And what about the labeling of the coin envelopes? Have you ever mislabeled one of those by writing the wrong item number?
No.
Okay. When are the envelopes labeled in relationship to when the collection takes place?
The
Before?
envelopes are labeled before.
Okay, so do you put if you're collecting stain number 5, for example, in our demonstration, you're going to put that in an envelope that's labeled what?
Number 5.
And that would be done before you moved on to number 6?
Right.
Now, when you were at the Rockingham location, did you place your initials on all the coin envelopes as you were collecting them?
At the time, I thought I did. Looking back, I apparently didn't.
And do you
What?
recall?
Wait, what? I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. What does that even mean? I missed that.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit.
Like 30 seconds. That was weird. What?
Right.
Wait, I think it went forward.
Fred's question.
When are the envelopes labeled in relationship to when the collection takes place?
Okay, when are the envelopes labeled in relation to when the collection takes place? Wouldn't normal everyday common sense dictate when you do it? When you pick it up, you write it on the envelope at the time you're picking it up?
I suppose, yes. I mean, I would think so. I would think that would be procedurally accurate,
Okay.
correct, to do things contemporaneously.
Yeah.
The envelopes are labeled before.
Okay, so do you put if you're collecting stain number 5, for example, in our demonstration, you're going to put that in an envelope that's labeled what?
Number 5.
And that would be done before you moved on to number 6.
Right.
Okay.
Now, when you were at the Rockingham location, did you place your initials on all the coin envelopes as you were collecting them?
At the time, I thought I did. Looking back, I apparently didn't.
That's what I thought she said. When you collect, they just said she just testified that you're supposed to fill out the envelopes contemporaneously and do it. And in fact, do it before you put the evidence in there. And then on direct examination, they have to say it on direct examination, otherwise they'll get crushed on cross-examination. So they have to try to get out in front of it. Did you initial everything? I thought I did, but gee, in retrospect, I guess I didn't.
No, that seems very suspicious to me because there's all this like when Fung was on the stand, there was a lot of questioning of, did he really do certain things or was it Mazzola, right? And
Yeah.
he said that he did things that she actually did. He took credit for things that she actually did. So that seems odd. That seems suspicious. And if she didn't put her initials on things, it begs the question, did she not do that because she didn't collect the evidence herself? Could it have been something that he did? I mean, there's just a lot of weirdness about them as a team and the way that they, I just don't know. What do you think?
I think they're just retards. They're just incompetent.
Uh-huh.
And possibly up to nefarious things, because I kind of buy into the they planted evidence thing.
Well, are they retards or are they intentionally, messing with stuff? I mean, are they incompetent or are they intentional? I
think it's intentional. I mean, incompetence and maybe a little mix of both.
You saying little column A, little column B?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I could get that.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I don't know. It's just their procedures don't seem like they make any sense. I'd like to get like a supervisor in to really answer the question of how do you do procedures, because it makes the department look terrible, and I feel like they're covering things up. I don't know. I just don't trust their testimonies, either one of them.
And you shouldn't trust them.
They're not trustworthy.
They're the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So anyway, the takeaway from this is she was supposed to do it. She knew she was supposed to do it. She thought she didn't, but gee, now that you're crushing my trainer on cross-examination, I guess I didn't do it. My bad.
And do you recall testifying at what we've been referring to or sometimes referred to as a Griffin hearing on August 23rd, I believe?
See, it's a Griffin hearing. I don't know, whatever that means.
I remember testifying at the Griffin hearing.
Okay. And in that, when you were testifying at that hearing at that time, did you believe that you had put all of your initials or your initials on all of the items that you collected on the 13th?
At that time, I believe I had.
So in other words, you
since
lied
learn
at
that
this
you did
Griffin
not?
hearing, whatever that was? See, that means whatever this Griffin hearing was, she went to and said, yes, I initialed everything. She lied to whoever was and whatever was going on with this Griffin hearing. But now she remembers differently, conveniently.
Question.
Okay. Did you since look at photographs of some of the items collected?
Yes.
And have you learned that you did not?
I learned I had not.
I learned I
On
had
the other
not.
scenes that you had processed,
She had to be told that she didn't do it. She didn't know she didn't do it. She had to learn that she didn't actually initial these things. And got problems with that.
I'm curious about this Griffin hearing thing. I found the case history. I'm not sure if you're interested.
What's the purpose of a Gryffindor hearing?
Well, so Griffin v. California, which occurred in 1965, was a U.S. Supreme Court case in which The court ruled by a 6-2 vote that it's a violation of a defendant's Fifth Amendment rights for the prosecutor to comment to the jury on the defendant's declining to testify, or for the judge to instruct the jury that such silence is evidence of guilt. So I have no idea how it's relevant here.
All right.
No idea.
Well, that didn't help.
But I thought that I would share. So,
Well, thank you. Thank you
you're
for sharing.
welcome. You're welcome for taking up 20 seconds and,
Yeah.
being completely, just contributing something totally useless.
Well, I'm going to share a new small bell sound effect, and I need you to tell me if you can hear it. So let's give it a crack. 3, 2, 1, new bell sound. No,
I heard a little tink. Yeah.
You heard a little tink.
Yeah, it sounded like you like hit a fork on, the side of a plate or something.
Now it should be louder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hear that.
Now it sounds like a ship bell.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a bell.
Kind of. Wow.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what it it's not really bellish.
Really? That's weird. I'm going to listen to it.
I mean, I hear it, but
You heard a little.
and now you're muting yourself. I don't know what's going on. Jeff.
Huh, weird. For some reason, all of my small bell sounds kind of sound like suckage. It sounds great to me because it's a ship bell, but weird. Doesn't sound good coming through. I'll have to work on the small bell sound apparently.
You might. Yeah, it sounds unimpressive. Sorry. Not to be mean. Maybe I can't hear the full thing. Maybe the sound is filtered through.
Yeah,
somehow. I'm not sure.
I was listening to the stream and it just kind of goes donk. Weird.
Well,
It's a nice little ding 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 on my end, but whatever. All right, I'll worry about it later.
We'll figure it out somehow.
Yeah, let's get going. Back on the stream.
Sorry, I'm objecting. As moved to strike the last answer. It's conclusory as opposed to testifying.
Now, on the other other scenes that you had collected stains on prior to the 13th, had you initialed on those occasions?
Yes.
And why wasn't that done here at the scene?
I was told that there were only 2 of us that would be.
Objection is dismissed.
Sustained.
Okay, without telling us what was said, was there a conversation about this?
Yes.
And after the conversation, was there some conclusion that was arrived at?
Yes.
And what was the conclusion?
Objection.
What's the basis?
Here, say again.
Overruled.
There were only going to be 2 of us at the scenes collecting evidence. We were working as a team, so it really didn't matter if our initials were on the envelope since we were working as a team.
Now, as to the crime scene identification checklist that we talked a little bit about, when you testified at the Griffin hearing,
Did you lie?
what was your understanding of how that checklist was supposed to be used?
At the time, I thought that everything had to be filled out. The other scenes I had gone on, they had filled out the checklist.
Okay. Maybe we can see a portion. I think it's 1107.
Sounds like she's admitting to being a little less than honest.
Wow. Really? That's a shocker.
Let's just take a look at the last page of the exhibit. It's 1107 for identification.
All right, Mr. Farrelly, what page number is that? They're numbered at the top.
Page 2 of 2.
I don't think it has a number. It's the one that has 17, 18, and 19,
All right.
or 18, 17, and 19. Is this the form that you use out in the field when you're collecting evidence?
Yes.
It's a little.
And did you
blurry
just
there.
never bother to fill it out?
Now, prior to testifying at the Griffin hearing, did you believe that every single box and every single column needed to be filled out?
Yes.
And as a result of your training and experience after the Griffin hearing, did you learn something different?
I learned that this is a general guideline for us. Some of the boxes really don't apply to us at the scene.
Like
When did you-
what? Which box wouldn't apply at the scene? I was trained and told that I was absolutely necessary to fill out all the boxes, but later I learned it wasn't.
So the next question should really be, are you and your department just completely incompetent?
Well, no, this is direct examination. This is the good testimony.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got here? Sample.
Sorry, I'm still waking up. The first question from the defense should be that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's the sample. There's the ID photo. Yes, have you taken a photograph of this? Photo with scale. So is there a scale photograph with this? Location of item. Why wouldn't you fill out location of item? Item collected. Why wouldn't you fill out the item collected and the time?
Right,
So
you can
who
read
collected? Barely. So I mean, literally everything in here looks like it should be filled out to me.
Is it that
She's like,
hard?
no, I
Is it
just
really?
learned that. No, it's not that hard.
Considering what else the job comprises. You know, you pick up a stain, you put it in the bag, maybe you add something to it. Is it really that hard to like get a clipboard and write this shit down at the time that it happens? Why would it be so are they trying to maintain efficiency somehow of like not having I don't understand what is so hard about this. Or do it at the end of the collection after it's all over, or do it when you get back to the why do you, what is so difficult about it? I don't understand. I'm just like, I don't get it.
Can't help you.
It's incomprehensible.
Yeah.
God
Well,
damn
let's
it.
find out what our answers are
Single
here.
column
Yeah.
needed to be filled out.
Yes.
And as a
Yes.
result of your training and experience after the Griffin hearing, did you learn something different?
I learned that this is a general guideline for us. Some of the boxes really don't apply to us at the scene.
When did you learn that
So right after I testified at the Griffin hearing.
and got back to the laboratory?
Right.
Okay.
So she testified at the Griffin hearing. Yeah, we have to fill out all of this. She gets back to the lab, and everybody in the lab goes, what are you doing? We don't do any of this shit. Why did you tell them we're doing all this shit? You don't have to do all this shit. Knock it off. That's what it sounds like happened to me. She just, as soon as she finished her hearing, she got back to the lab, and that's when she learned that we don't do all of this. This is weird.
With respect to the time column, have you noticed now, based upon the experience that you have to date, that different criminalists in the Los Angeles Police Department have different practices with respect to how they fill out that column?
Yes.
And how is that used?
Some fill out every single individual time that something is collected. Others put a starting time that they start collecting evidence and an ending time when they stop. Everything that is collected while you're at the scene. So it happens between those two times.
And then are there some people that use what I guess you might call an intermediate type usage of that time column and put in some times as you did on the 13th?
Right.
Sustain.
Are there some people,
Can rephrase the question.
are there some people that use an intermediate technique?
Yes.
All right. Now, getting back to the collection of the evidence.
Patrick
at
Hemken, this trial
Rockingham,
was so
perhaps
big,
we
I
can take a look at
basically
pages
didn't go
120.
to 9 months of law school.
It's
Well,
the,
6
the
months,
board of
because there was a 3 month
on the
vacation
outside.
in the middle. I watched this rather than actually going to law school.
I remember Harvey Levin saying that people would just stay home, you know, because
Yeah.
it's not like you could watch TV at work. So like people would just not go to work. They would just stay home and just watch, you know,
Yeah,
the
I
Bronco
sk- I
chase and the
skipped-
trial.
I skipped law school as much as possible to watch this, and I videotaped it and came home and watched it instead of doing homework. All right, next bell try. This is the third ship bell I'm trying. Tell me what you think. 3, 2, 1.
I don't know what that was. What was that supposed to be?
Wow, that was a ship bell. There's problem.
You want to play that back for yourself and just hear how it sounded, because it was a little odd.
Now, with respect to People's 120 for identification, do you recognize what's depicted here? I don't.
It's
Can you
not
see this?
showing them.
Well, it's not going to be on the monitor.
Oh.
Maybe you can just step down for a moment and take a look at this. Excuse me. And are these photographs that depict various items that you participated in collecting on the 13th at Rockingham?
Overruled. Overruled.
Wow, that was lame.
Now,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't stop laughing. I had to mute myself. I'm
when you
okay.
were
This is
doing the
one
physical
slot.
collection on
I'm gonna
these,
try it in a different
do you
slot.
recall what
Okay.
order they were done in? Were they done in numerical order?
For the most part, yes.
And would that mean that you started with the stains that are down towards the gate?
The first thing that was collected was on the door of the Bronco.
Do you know who physically collected that?
I'm not physically.
Now, did you then begin with,
Sorry.
This-
Oh, sorry. I was the one who collected the one on the Bronco.
now, with respect to the stains that are leading from the Bronco into the driveway area, did you and Dennis Fung physically collect those?
Objection as to her and Dennis Fung.
Overruled.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us, when you first started the collection, can you be more specific as to who was doing what in terms of the physical collection?
As I said, I was the one that collected the stain off the Bronco. And Mr. Fung collected the stain on the street. When we got to the driveway, he did, I believe it was like the first 2 stains. And I took over from there and was the one physically collecting the rest.
With respect to the other stains, do you have a recollection of whether he physically participated in collecting any of those?
He was present for some.
So at the beginning of the stains, he was doing more of the physical collection, and then towards the end, less.
Right.
And with respect to the first phase of the collection procedure, the documentation, the numbering, and the measuring phase, how did the two of you work together to accomplish that?
We worked as a team.
Now, with respect to the stains at the end of the outdoor area, stain number 7 and stain number 8, do you recall where Dennis Fung was around the time that those were collected?
At first, he was not present, but as I kept working, he came up.
Do you recall whether anyone else was present at the time those stains were collected in the
Yes.
immediate area?
There was someone in the immediate area,
Who was that?
Mr. Steve Johnson.
Who's he?
He is the assistant lab director.
Do you know where Dennis Fung was at the time that he was not present,
No
or
idea.
where he went? But he went somewhere and then at some point came back.
Correct.
Now, with respect to the stains at the Rockingham location,
We can hear the
every
foghorn,
single
right?
Stain collected, or were there some that were not collected?
There
No?
were some that were not.
I
collected.
could hear it the first time.
What is your
For the $100?
training with respect to the
Like just right now when they did it.
need to collect
I didn't hear
every
anything.
stain as opposed to less than all the stains?
Well, on a trail, you want to get a representative sample. You want to get the first few stains.
This-
You want to pick up the last few stains. The ones in between, as long as they appear to be going in the general direction, there was nothing out of the ordinary with them. Not every single stain has to be collected.
And is that the technique that you and Mr. Fung used with respect to collecting these stains?
Lame.
All right. You can, I want to ask you some questions that you may have to refer to your crime scene identification checklist for, so we can resume the stand.
Everybody's looking at the drawing. It must
All
be
right, Mr.
interesting.
Goldberg, are you going to refer back to this exhibit, People's 120 again?
I was going to talk about stains, so I thought it might be useful for it to be here unless logistically we just can't do that.
Oh, if you're going to be referring to it, proceed.
All right. Well, in this silence, I'm going to do the foghorn right now. Tell me if you can hear it. 3, 2, 1.
Stains number 4 through 6
Yes.
on our diagram.
Okay.
I heard it.
And Bell.
With the photo ID
No, that
numbers
one
4
was
through
a little
6.
off. But the foghorn sounded great.
Weird.
Down towards the beginning portion
It's
of the
retarded.
driveway. Can you tell us the time frame that those
Yeah,
stains
maybe
were
don't play
collected?
that second one.
So you want to let the record show.
The way it comes through
downloaded
is not how you want it
Refresh your
to
recollection,
sound.
so
No,
it's
but I've downloaded 5 versions of it, and none of them work right.
All right, Ms. Mazzola, what are you referring to?
Weird.
I'm referring to the crime scene notes.
All right, thank you. Proceed.
Oh, well.
They were collected around 9 o'clock, all within a few minutes of each other.
And with respect to the stains that are up towards the, close to the entrance area, stain number 7, stain number 8, what was the time frame of those stains?
Those were approximately 10 to 15 minutes
Foghorns.
later.
Bell.
Did you have some time
gonna say
frames in your
Leghorn.
crime scene identification checklist that you give us?
Item 7 was collected approximately 9:10. Item 8, approximately 15 minutes later.
Okay.
I just give up. Forget it.
Now, when you were at the location, from what you
Forget it.
saw, of
Never
all
going to
of
another
the
sound effect
stains,
ever again.
did any of them appear to have been stepped in?
No.
Okay. Now, this is important testimony here. Forget the fact that I'm just like totally not paying any attention whatsoever to any of it. But she's asking about, did anybody walk through or step on any of the crime scene? When they've been shown video during Fung's testimony of people literally walking through the middle of crime scenes with bare bottomed shoes without wearing like the shoe covers and things.
Little booties that go over. Yeah.
Yeah, the little booties. And the way they're trying to rehabilitate Fung and the whole process is just weird. It's like, so they're trying. We just saw it. You're supposed to check all these boxes. You thought, right? Yes, I was trained that we have to check all the boxes on this checklist. But then I realized that I didn't do it. But then I got back and they told me I didn't have to do all of that, and it was just guidelines. That's a weird way of doing it. And now I think that's what they're doing with you saw people just jumping all over the crime scene and walking through it, didn't you? No. And then I guess on cross-examination, they're gonna be, well, isn't this someone walking through the crime scene, and see what she has to say? This is just weird. Weird.
Now, before I can take this down now, Your Honor.
All right.
I mean, it's not like things have gotten a lot better with LAPD since then. Maybe a little. But I'm
And I
not
guess
surprised.
speaking of lame things, here's the half-ass lame bell that doesn't work for Unhung Heroes $2 super chat. The Swatchberries taste like Swatchberries. Okay. And the Snozberries taste like Snozberries. Thanks. Appreciate that. Back to Mazzola. Corn oil.
Farrell, why don't you swing that around?
Before you left the Rockingham location, did you and Mr. Fung go through any process in terms of double checking the evidence that you had?
Yes.
What was that?
We knew what item numbers we collected. We looked at each individual item to make sure that we had everything.
Okay. And is that a routine thing that you have done on the other crime scenes that you were on before this?
At the other crime scenes, we make sure that we have everything that we collected.
What did you do with the various coin envelopes that you had with the biological evidence of them in them?
Chandler was unmoved.
They were
3,
put
2,
in a
1.
small paper bag,
Do you recall whether they were lying down or standing up?
and they were standing up.
And what was done with the paper bag?
The paper bag was put into the back of the crime scene truck
Was the crime scene truck locked?
all the time.
Approximately what time was it that you left the Rockingham location?
That was approximately 10 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Were you wearing gloves during the collection procedure of the biological evidence at Rockingham?
Yes,
And do you know whether you were wearing the same pair of gloves the whole time?
I probably changed gloves. I don't remember how many times, but
Objection, Your Honor, inspector, you said I probably.
That's not really an answer, is it? He was wanting, we changed gloves all the time. He said, well, I changed gloves. Well, maybe, well, something. That wasn't really an answer. I changed gloves. Well, Well, no, he doesn't know. That's why he's asking. And again, this, Fung testified to basically not changing his gloves very much at all, which sort of, after this trial, as we've talked about before, ushered in this whole idea of one piece of evidence, one set of gloves. You change your gloves after every piece of evidence. So yeah, well, there we go. Been there, done that. Bell test.
And do you know whether you were wearing the same pair of gloves the whole time?
I probably changed gloves. I don't remember how many times, but
Objection, Your Honor, inspector, you said I probably move to strike the answer.
Sustain, rephrase the question.
Do you have a
Excuse
practice?
me, just curious to disregard the last question and answer.
Okay. Do you have a practice at a crime scene to wear the same pair of gloves throughout the entire crime scene?
no.
What is your practice?
I change the gloves when they start getting uncomfortable. If I am done processing an area and I am moving on to a completely separate area, I will change gloves.
By the way, just going back for a second to the blood collection procedure, do you ever touch the blood with your gloved hands
No.
when you're collecting it?
No,
What about the swatches?
no,
Is that something that has happened to you by accident, where you have touched a bloody swatch with your gloved hand?
no.
Now, what do you do with the gloves that you're wearing at the time that you leave the Rockingham location? Do you keep them on?
No, we take a paper bag, which we label trash, and any trash that we generate, whether it's used gloves, swabs, Kim wipes, anything, goes into this bag, and we take it with us.
Okay. Now, after you left the Rockingham location, where did you go?
We went to Bundy.
Approximately what time did you arrive at the Bundy location?
10:15, somewhere around there.
Now, when you arrived at the Bundy location, from your own independent recollection,
Hey, Anna, what's up? Good to have you here.
what was going on at
Welcome
that
to
location when you
1995.
arrived?
Anna's in the house. Hey, Anna.
We
There were
always
a lot of
love
people
Anna.
there.
Yeah.
The coroners were there.
Just for Anna,
there
we'll
were
zoom in on
extra
Yoda's ugly
detectives at the
mug.
scene.
From your independent recollection, do you recall whether you saw the body
Because
of
that Star
either
Wars girl needs some
Nicole
Yoda
Brown
in her life.
or Ronald Goldman?
I remember seeing a brief glimpse of Mr. Goldman.
Where do you recall him being?
He was up on the walkway.
We'll give Anna an extreme close up.
Were you
'Cause she
paying,
deserves it.
paying close attention to what was going on
No.
during this period of time?
Sleepy Yoda.
I was trying to look at everything. There was a lot going on at that time.
Okay. Do you recall an incident where Mr. Fung took a bag over to Mr. Lang to Detective Lang?
I remember Mr. Fung taking a bag up to the area.
Okay, did you know what was going on at that time?
No,
Did you see what he did with it?
no, I don't.
So, I mean, you're seeing from all of the
Did you
incompetence
ever,
that came out of
from
this
your
OJ
independent
Simpson trial,
recollection,
sweeping
recall
changes in
seeing
crime
Nicole
scene analysis
Brown,
and evidence collection.
at the location with any blanket over her?
I don't recall seeing Nicole Brown.
Do you remember anything about a blanket?
I remember seeing a white blanket there.
And where do you remember seeing it the first time that you can recall seeing it?
It was up on the walkway near the steps.
And did you see how it got there?
No.
Now, I'd like to direct your attention to People's 165 for identification, the board showing the Bundy biological evidence.
Ooh, the sound of silence.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So maybe you can step down for a moment, just take a look at this. Okay, does this diagram appear to depict the Bundy location?
Yes, it does.
And do the photographs appear to depict various items of biological evidence that you and Mr. Fung collected on the 13th?
Yes.
Now, with respect to this diagram, I don't think it's on here, but do you recall the first item of evidence biological evidence rather, that you collected, the first stain?
I believe it was on a tree stump. I don't see it on the board.
Okay, it's the photographs isn't there.
Right.
And for what purpose was that collected?
That was collected as a reference sample from Mr. Goldman.
With respect to the biological evidence in the caged off area, can you describe for us in the physical collection procedure how you and Mr. Fung worked together in collecting that evidence?
He was supervising. He was watching me. After
Whiskey
we had
77 says, anybody want
marked
to
the numbers
watch a
with
TED
photograph,
Talk?
measure,
Yeah,
sketch.
TED Talks can go
He
fuck
watched as
themselves
I
now after the
collected
takedown I got yesterday from
biological
TED Talks. Here, distribute our stuff. Aha, gotcha. We're
Do you recall
takedown strike.
whether he did any of the physical collection with respect to those items in the caged off area?
I believe there were a couple of items that he personally collected.
From your independent recollection today, do you know which ones those are?
No, I don't.
All right. And did you then begin, which did you do first, the caged off area or what we referred to as the trail in terms of collecting biological evidence?
The caged off area.
Right. And at some later point, you began working on the trail?
That's correct.
Do you recall who did most of the physical swatching on the items on the trail?
I did the swatching
Okay, now,
majority.
Okay, so now this is interesting. She just said that she did most of the swatching. And I hope he asks some question. Otherwise, she's going to get crushed on cross-examination, I would guess. If you go back to Dennis Fung's testimony, Dennis Fung testified, I collected this swatch. I collected that. I collected this. I collected the other thing. I. He testified that he collected most of them. And then when confronted by Barry Scheck about whether or not Mazzola had actually collected them, Dennis Fung said, "Oh, I have this problem. I just realized I have this problem that when I testify and I say I really mean we did it. You know, she collected them, but I watched over her." And then, of course, Fung hammered him on these. Oh, okay. So when you like it actually means her, not you. So I mean,
It makes you wonder.
Fung, yeah, it was Fung being a complete retard and lying, basically, and trying to get away with it. So this has already come out that Fung said, "I collected this watch, I collected that, I collected the other thing." Shaq caught him, and then he said, "Okay, when I said I meant we." So Mazzola actually collected it. So I'm curious as to where this goes, because now she's just said she collected all of the evidence that Fung testified originally that he had collected, until he was so gently reminded that when he says I, he really means we.
Do you recall any stains now from your independent recollection that Mr. Fung physically participated in swatching on the trail?
Item 112, he picked up a little more blood off of that item than I had picked up. And there was one other item farther down the trail that he picked up. I can't remember which one.
You know, when you said item number 112, were you looking at the photograph
Oh,
that has
right.
item number 47?
That's correct.
Okay, and does the call out line depict the
Oh
general
yeah,
area?
he
where that
described
was
it as a
located?
verbal tick.
Now, can you specifically tell us in
Right.
terms of item or photo number where this other item was, or is it just a general recollection?
It was just a general recollection.
Can you tell us anything that stands out in your mind about that other stain, or the circumstances surrounding collecting that stain?
I remember that Mr. Fung knelt down and became a little upset because there were several purple berries in an area, and she had knelt down on one and had stained his pants. So he was.
What? What a weird thing to say. Were there any, do you recall anything else about these stains? Yes, Fung got angry because he knelt down on a red berry and stained his pants.
Why is that pertinent? Why do we need
What-
to know about that?
What a weird thing to say.
There was a murder. 2 people died violently and viciously. Why is what? Do you want to tell us what the weather was like? Do you want to tell us, about every dull, mundane moment of the day? I mean, come on.
Fung knelt down on some little purple berries and stained his pants.
Why?
Not my pants.
Who
says
wants
Kitty.
to know that? Who in the jury is going, "Oh yes, I'm very glad that you shared that with us"? I mean, come on. I don't
He
understand.
was mad because he knelt upon a purple berry. Therefore, he's guilty. OJ did it.
Would you like to do some free association and some, some beat poetry while you're at it?
Read poetry.
It's totally irrelevant. What the hell?
I don't know where they're going. Let's see where she's going with Fung's pants stain.
Is there I'm going to mute myself. I don't have
About that.
Is that how you remember that
That's-
item?
That's how I remember that he had picked up one farther down the trail.
Okay.
Excuse me, Counsel, Ms. Mazzola, if you would, you've, over the last several questions and answers, you've talked over each other. Ms. Mazzola, let Mr. Goldberg finish asking the question.
So she remembered that Fung collected a piece of evidence down the path because she remembered him collecting the evidence and getting all grumpy because he stepped on a bee berry or something. Weird.
Mr. Goldberg, let her finish answering the question before we start with the next one.
Sorry, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, when you were collecting these items along the trail area, direct your attention to stain number 50. That's item number 115. And then stain number 51. It's down here in the lower right-hand corner. That's item number 116. Do you recall specifically why they were numbered in that order?
I do not recall why board members were this.
Okay. Do you, when you were at a scene, when you were at this scene, did you make it a practice to number them in some sort of sequence based on the geography of the location, or?
Yes.
Oh, yes, please zoom in on that back gate where there's no evidence of blood that mysteriously shows up 2 weeks later. Yeah, please draw attention to this particular deal. Because this is the photo from the gate where there's no blood spot here between these two other stains, and then they went back 2 weeks later and magically there was a blood stain there.
That's a pretty clear photo. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to
And
blame the
Fung
90s
blamed it on-
technology, but
Well, Fung tried to blame it was like contrast or something like that.
yeah, like the flash, but that's not what we're seeing.
Yeah.
It's a very clear picture. You can see the marks on the gate from like the scuffs.
Now, with respect to stain number 52, that's item number 117, do you recall collecting that stain?
Yes, I do.
Man.
Is there anything about that stain or the substrate control on that stain that stands out in your memory?
It stands out in my memory because I went to take the control. A red color, the pigment came up on the swatch, and that's the first time that's happened to me. So, and it was about the same color as the driveway.
Could it have been a purple berry that your trainer knelt upon at some point? Why are there two sets of numbers? Because they suck. That's why. Because the crime scene collection sucked.
Because they're totally inept.
Just like me. See what I just did?
Oh God, Jeff, what did you do? Why did you go back so far?
Because I'm totally inept. I didn't even mean to do that.
Okay, we were pretty close to that mark, I think. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Chandler.
I think right there.
Yes.
Now, with respect to stain number 52, that's item number 117, do you recall collecting that stain?
Yes, I do.
Is there anything about that stain or the substrate control on that stain that stands out in your memory?
It stands out in my memory because I went to take the control. A red color, the pigment came up on the swatch, and that's the first time that's happened to me. So, and it was about the same color as the driveway. So that's why it stands out.
Other than that, do you recall anything particularly coming up on the control swatches on the other items in the trail?
Other than maybe a little dirt thing.
You're a dirty little crime scene investigator, aren't you?
But
You're a
nothing
dirty
stood
little
out in your
crime
mind.
scene
Do
investigator.
you recall one way or the other? I mean, was it something you took a note of?
No.
This Nancy Grace
So the only
looking
one that
person
stood
hanging
in
out
your
here.
mind in terms of coming up with something on the control was number 52.
Correct.
Oh my God, blueberries were the best. Holy crap.
I don't remember if I've had
Blueberries were
those.
awesome. Count Chocula was like a close number 2, but blueberries were the best.
I can't remember if I've had those.
Okay, thank you. You can resume your seat.
Yeah, drops of blood like from an eyedropper.
Pretty sure they stopped making blueberries, and Tarantino put a box of them in one of his films. He had like collected that and saved it for some reason, like a collector's item. Maybe it was
Mr.
Frankenberry.
Goldberg, I'd like to take our recess at this point.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first recess for the morning. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't discuss the matter with anybody else. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted
Deliberations?
to you. We'll stand in recess until 10:30. Ms. Mazzola, you may step down. You're ordered to return at 10:30.
All right, and this is a great break point for us because that happened at exactly the 1 hour and 55 minute part of our stream. So that's close enough to
Woohoo.
2 hours. So that's
Works
where
for
we'll,
me.
we'll end this. And unfortunately, we won't have another OJ Simpson stream for 2 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks actually, because it's vacation time starting next Wednesday for me. We'll talk about it here in just a quick second. I'm going to hit the bell button that doesn't work there. Nobody heard anything. Duncan, we're working on weird. Like none of the other sound effects are working. Is phrasing working?
Phrasing.
Yes.
Weird. So it's like those are the only ones that aren't working. Weird. It's just that one. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, Duncan Idaho with a $5 super chat. I don't think people are reminded often enough that the default state of government work and organization is ineptitude. Pretty much because governments operate like communism. They don't want you to excel at your job. They don't want you to suck at your job. They just want you to be adequate and mediocre. Be adequate and mediocre. That gets you your pension and you move on. If you're
Wait,
a
I'm confused.
superstar, they don't
That's
like you. What?
I was just going to ask, do people think that the government works? Are there really
Yeah.
people out there who believe that? Because
They do enough just to get by. That's the spirit of communism. Just enough to not get executed, thrown in jail, or fired.
yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I was a little confused there for a second.
Let's bring the dancing Ito off the camera here. Oh, Yoda has shifted positions. He's there we go. Wrinkly mug in there.
Somebody in chat was remarking how they never see your dogs do anything bad at all. I never
Yeah, I
see your
saw
dogs
that.
really do anything.
Yeah, they don't know anything good either.
They don't seem to be awake almost ever. I mean, and
No, they're
when they
not.
are, they're just like either they're cuddling or they're licking each other. But they're very cute.
That's pretty much all they do. Yeah, they don't do anything bad. They don't do anything good. They just really don't do anything at all. The beauty of English bulldogs, they just sort of lay there.
Which is
About
why you're
3
able to have
minutes of
doggo cam,
activity.
because they're not very active. So you
Yeah.
know that if the camera
Right.
is there, they'll be, stationary.
Well, and especially Yoda. Yoda is just kind of like clockwork. Strawberry, if somebody is moving, she's moving. She
She's a little more-
never sleeps as long as somebody else is moving.
She's the hyper one.
Yoda, 10 o'clock, he just falls over, and that's it.
I wish I
so
could
you-
sleep like that.
Yeah, it's like when you're watching TV or doing something, Yoda falls over, and you go, "Oh, must be 10 o'clock," and you're just within a few minutes either way. It's kind of how I tell time around the house at night. I'm like, time to get ready for the stream. Yoda has fallen down.
I had a cat like that every
yes.
night at 10 or 11 o'clock. He'd be like, all right, it's time for bed. Like he would
but-
insist, like, now we're going to bed.
But all cats in the universe wake up at 5:30 in the morning, which I hate.
5:30? Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a little earlier than that. Hence why I'm frequently up early. So they are early risers, yeah.
Well, so here's what's coming up. Tomorrow will be a chill Friday night stream. I want to cover because we got yeeted. The stream got a takedown strike from YouTube. They did it themselves because we showed some TED Talk video from TED Talks who specifically say, please share and spread the word. Just don't take monetization from it. And I didn't. But for some reason, YouTube took it down. I did an appeal. They said, screw you. Your appeal is rejected. Our takedown stands. So I have this permanent warning/strike against my channel from here until the end of time. But we didn't get to talk about Clarence Darrow, who is the goat of all great oratory lawyers in history.
That was the part I was looking forward to, and I thought you did it, and I fell asleep, and I missed it forever. So maybe you could cover it again.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I want to talk a little bit about Clarence Darrow, who he was, what he did, his impact on society. There's one very short clip in existence, basically, of him talking.
Oh wow! I'd love to see
And
that.
after that, I want to read from one of his closing arguments in the Leopold and Loeb case. Two rich kids that just basically murdered a 14-year-old kid. They lured him into the car. They murdered him. They drove around him in the car for a while. They stuffed his body in a culvert and left him there. And they confessed everything. And the prosecution was seeking the death penalty. And Clarence Darrow was arguing against the death penalty. And he argued so effectively. His closing arguments went for 12 hours, first of all. It was a 12-hour closing statement.
I did not know that.
And his closing argument was so powerful that by the end of his closing argument, The judge was in tears. The judge was crying, was weeping openly by the end of Clarence Darrow's closing argument. That's a pretty good sign. If you have the judge crying. And I mean, this was a business level. I mean, he wasn't dismembered, but they knocked him on the noggin and drove around and stuffed him in a culvert. There was no remorse, nothing. It was dispassionate. It was a straight up murder. It was a thrill kill is what it was.
And their motivation, from what I remember, was they wanted to see if they could, it was an intellectual exercise to see if they could
Pretty
get
much.
away with murder.
Yeah, they just
So
wanted
one
to
video Legal
just
Eagle
wanted
has
to
ever
do it.
done that I've actually liked, but I think you're going to do a lot better.
Probably not, but I mean, that was essentially what they did. They did it because they just wanted to do it. And that's it. So I want to read a good chunk, not 12 hours worth, but a good portion of what I think are the interesting and more powerful parts of his closing arguments. So that's what we'll do tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not going to read the entire 12-hour closing. It's 62, 63 pages, if I recall correctly. So yeah, we don't want to read that. We don't want to read all of it. But it is available to read in its entirety, and it ranges everywhere from sociological issues to mental competency to a huge section on Nietzsche's philosophy. I mean, it's a very broad, wide sweeping closing argument, which it's beautiful. But I just want to kind of hit some of the high points, probably for an hour or so. So that's what we'll do tomorrow, along with just kind of a chill stream. And we'll after we do that, we'll throw it open to chat for a while. Then over the weekend, nothing. Monday, we'll do a Maritime Monday. I still haven't really decided what I'm going to do for Maritime Monday. Tuesday is just going to be a big chill stream. Because Wednesday is the last, Tuesday is the last time you're going to be actively speaking to me probably for 2 weeks. Because it's vacation time. So Monday will be Maritime Monday. Tuesday, we'll do a chill stream. We'll throw it open to chat. Just kind of have fun. Talk about whatever. Everything is game. Then Wednesday, I'm going to be leaving on vacation on the 9th. I'll be in Texas at Anime Matsuri from early morning local time on the 10th to the 13th or 14th. I can't remember. One of those days I'm leaving.
The 13th,
I'm
you're
going to
leaving.
Utah.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
That was what you told me.
I made these reservations so long ago, I can't even remember.
13th is a Sunday. That's when I'm leaving as well.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I guess I can look right now on my phone.
Jeff, you told me your itinerary. I have it.
I know, but that was just kind of me guessing.
You sure? All right.
I made these reservations like in February. So I literally can't remember. Let's see. Houston, H-O-U-S-T-O-N, Houston.
I'll be there the 11th to the 13th. So. And Hayden's there right now. He did a little stream this morning.
Oh, I didn't see him. I didn't see that. All right. Okay, Busan to Houston. So LA. Oh, God, I gotta get through LAX. What a shithole LAX is. Goddamn.
It is a terrible airport. I agree.
Fucking hate it. I literally go out of my way to avoid LAX, but I remember that was the only airport available for that day. So fuck that.
Hayden was talking about how he came into LAX and it smelled terrible, and I'm so sorry. It's the smog.
Yeah. I know it's just LAX. It's a stinky,
LAX
shitty airport.
It's awful. Yeah.
Yes, I will be leaving at 7:30 p.m. on Sunday, August 13th.
That's what you told me.
Yeah. And so then I will I will be in Utah from the night of the 13th to the 21st. And we'll be doing 2 meetups. Danny and I are going to set up 2 meetups somewhere in Salt Lake Effect Bar or somewhere else, and then one at Peach City and Brigham City. I don't know. I got to talk to Danny and we got to work out schedules. So we'll do Peach City and Brigham City and somewhere in Salt Lake City. We'll do two meetups just for people in the hood. And that's what we'll do. And I'll be back on the 22nd. During all of this, I'll come online and do some streams whenever I can, just some update chats and hang out with people. Some old stuff. Probably a lot of the Business Trial will be uploaded while I'm gone, just little like one witness at a time, just kind of upload it every day so the YouTube doesn't forget about me. And that's what we're gonna do. And hanging out there in Texas for Anime Matsuri. I don't give two shits about anime, but we're just going to see all the peeps
Neither
and
do I.
hang out. We'll be hanging out with Chandler, and Flux will be there, and we'll just kind of Jessica Reloaded and Waifu Kron Jess, and we'll just all kind of be hanging out together and getting liquored up with Hayden and whatnot. So that's kind of it.
Yeah, it'll be a blast.
Daily Quick Bites says legal advice. I would like to talk aliens. True, false, but false flag at some point here. We have a good crowd here, capable of critical thinking. Yeah, we did the big alien stream just recently on our Unexplained with Flux and Danny. But we got to do the new one after. We have to do a post-congressional hearing thing. And there was another thing today that I just saw came out where the Russian military was saying that aliens took over their missiles at one point not too long ago, which may have resulted in World War III. So we'll have to look at that as well.
Wow, aliens did it. That's a level of dog ate my homework type blame that I don't think I've heard before.
What we do with the dogs, we bring them to a dog shelter. They'll sit here at home. They'll live happily ever after here at the home. And I have a friend that she's going to come on over and feed them in the morning and play with them for an hour, and then feed them in the evening and feed them at night. She just lives a couple 100 yards up the street, so she'll come over and hang out with them a couple times a day to keep them
I love the great
entertained.
Concern in that chat, by the way, the all caps. Yes, no, it's not like you're just going to leave them to fend for themselves. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, because I mean, the problem with bulldogs is you have to know how to take care of them or they die. Especially heat. Heat is the number one non-genetic killer of bulldogs. They just drop dead because they have zero ability to regulate their own internal temperatures. And if it gets hotter than like 80 degrees, they can just drop dead. And a lot of the dog care places keep them in small rooms. They don't have the air conditioner on 24/7. And plus there's the cost. It's about $60 per animal. Weirdly, they don't go by physical size here. They determine the size of dogs by their weight. I mean, these guys are about poodle size. They just happen to weigh 20 times more than a poodle. The poodle's a good 4 pounds, 8 pounds. These guys are like 50 pounds each, but they're the size of a poodle. They're just kind of bricks. So they get charged large dogs like the same rate you would charge a Saint Bernard to take care of these guys. So it's about $60 a day for one. So that's $120 a day for two animals times 14 days. You're looking at a huge chunk of cash. So I just pay a friend like $700-800 for the 2 weeks to come on over and take care of them. And it hurts, but hey, it's about half of what I'd pay someone else to do it. So I consider myself ahead. So yeah, the dogs will be taken care of. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I'll just do streams whenever I can. We'll kind of hang out a little bit as much as possible, make some cool videos while I'm gone, and we'll check in regularly just so you don't forget about me. And that's what's coming up for the next 2 weeks of my life.
Sounds great.
Yeah. And so the gang will all be together at some point next week, at least. Chandler and me, Ozzy, Waifu Kron Jess, Jessica Reloaded, Flux, and the big fish. The big fish in the small pond, they'll be there too. Nick, Camelot, Dick Masters, and all the big shot. Us little guys. So
And Anna too, right? Isn't Anna coming as well?
Anna is not coming to Anime Matsuri.
Oh, I thought she was.
She was, but something suddenly came up, just like in the Brady Bunch, like Marsha. She's like, something suddenly came up. On Civil Law, I'll be there. Nate will be there because they both live in Houston. So we'll keep y'all posted. But the big days are tomorrow. Will be what's his face day, and my brain's shutting down. It's late. It'll be Clarence Darrow Day tomorrow, Monday, Maritime Monday, Tuesday, Open Line Tuesday, and then vacation for 2 weeks. Yes, Nick will be there. We'll be hanging with Nick a little bit anyway. So there we go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for caring. And as always, we appreciate the mods for being so super moddy. They're the best. And you 200 and 230, now down to 211 suddenly. Concurrent viewers here right now. Thank you so much for joining for our Chill OJ Simpson stream. Again, direct examination always sucks in this trial. Cross-examination is coming soon. And again, she doesn't get taken to the woodshed like Dennis Fung did, but she gets spanked a little bit. And that's it. Thank you so much, Vice Squad. You're the greatest chat on the entire internet. Couldn't do this without you. Didn't want to do this without you. And I certainly wouldn't want to do OJ without my amazing, wonderful co-host, Chandler Remington. Chandler Remington. You need to go to subscribe to her. Remy_legal. That's her. And just like and subscribe my stuff too. How many subscribers did we lose during this stream? Let's find out. We are currently at... Woohoo! We only lost 2. 63,705. So since we stopped doing ship business, we've lost 32 subscribers, which is a lot less than I thought, because a lot of people do that. They subscribe to watch the trials and get the notifications. Then the trial's over and they drop off. So only losing 30 actually is pretty damn good. So I don't care. We're still having fun.
You win some, you lose some, and those you lose, you didn't, they weren't really real subscribers in the first place.
Well, that's very possible. Duncan, Idaho, thank you so much. Here's the bell that nobody hears again. Chandler, in response to your question, see 2020, people overwhelmingly trust governmental authority.
That's true, unfortunately. Yeah. The government. Not a fan.
And Duncan, Idaho says, Vices, try one episode of One Punch Man. It's a good anime, but also a parody of anime. Give it a try. I don't mind anime, but I don't seek it out. I don't live it. I don't breathe it. And certainly not enough to go to a convention called Anime Festival.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I was talking to my friend the other day who was like, oh, you're going to Matsuri. Okay, check out this anime and that anime and the other. And I'm just like, with all due respect, I really appreciate your passion, but I don't care. I'm just going to hang out with lawyers and get drunk. That's the only reason I'm going.
That's pretty much what I plan on doing is, hey, everybody that happens to be attending Anime Matsuri, I've got 2 hands. Just make sure they're both full of liquor at all times. That's why I'm going there. I'm going there to grip some free booze. I just hope I'm not sober enough. Well, it's like Mike Morrison offered to let me drive his McLaren. First of all, I'm not going to touch a $1 million car for any reason whatsoever. And 2, I plan on being far too liquored up to operate any motor vehicle at any point during my time at Anime Matsuri. So that's it.
I think that's the only way to get through an anime festival is to do it like drunk the entire time. What?
Wait, what? I just weirdly heard a bell sound effect.
I don't know why.
I don't know either. I was just sitting here and I heard like my bell sound effect. Why did I hear my bell sound effect?
Not me.
Wow, that was weird. I probably do have a ghost in my stream deck because it did in fact get doused with booze last week. Huh. Yeah, I just had the ding ding in my earphones. That was weird. All right, whatever. Anyway, we're gonna shut this down now because it's 1:19 a.m. here. Everybody, thank you again. We'll do our outro. Let's see who we have. Who do we want to raid? Who is going right now? Throw some ideas at me, folks. We're gonna switch over and raid somebody. Oh, why every time do I open a god dang YouTube thing, I see freaking Lizzo all over the place?
Because there's a lawsuit.
How is it that look, I am, as anyone who is going to be coming to Anime Matsuri will see, I'm a fat mother effer. I am large. I'm a 2x, 3x guy. How fat do you have to be that Lizzo fat shames you? That's
you have to be very fat.
Question.
I don't think it's that person was fat. I just think that it's like Lizzo is just like really controlling and problematic and not self-aware.
But they said she was being fat shamed by Lizzo. I mean, literally, how big do you have to be that Lizzo fat shames you?
Well, I think it
Holy
like
crap.
that dancer had gained weight or something, and she was like, "That's a no-no in the dance company" or whatever. I mean, it sounds like she did some messed up stuff. To be fair.
All right, I've got nobody streaming right now, so there's nobody live right now that automatically comes up. So if anybody knows of anybody, let me know, and I'll try to raid into them. Otherwise, we'll just set you off into your own little wild life to see where you end up randomly. Anybody have any place you want to be redirected? Everybody just says upcoming. We've got Steve Gosney upcoming, Nerd Report upcoming, Meme Copium upcoming, Shizzy Wiznut upcoming, MLS Law Show upcoming, Kaiser Pineapple upcoming, Flux got 3 things upcoming, Law of Self-Defense upcoming. Nobody is going live. Mike Malloy is live streaming. I don't know if I'm Mike Malloy's a good man. He's a good old Utah boy. Ancient guy. Mike Malloy. Calendar. Yeah, I can't yep, he hasn't allowed me to redirect to him. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to throw the gate open into the wild and let's see where y'all end up. Good luck, my friends, on your YouTube journey to find out where you get sent next. Mods, thank you. Vice Squad chat, thank you. Chandler Remington, thank you so much. We'll see you in about 5 days. And
Thank you, Jeff.
Yoda, thanks for just kind of being chill. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow for some Clarence Darrow on Friday morning U.S. time. Take care, everybody. Lorax saying goodbye. As soon as I find my outro, goodbye.